Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Be Heard Women Empowering Women. Today, I have a very talented entertainer, Miss Shelley Keelor. I met this lovely lady at UVP. It's a non-denominational church, and she sometimes is our soloist, and she's excellent. And she has performed at the Slow Burn Theater, at the Palm Beach Drama Works, a lot of places. And she also does one woman shows that she puts on herself. So I'm going to let you talk a little bit about yourself and then we'll go on. What would
Oh
you like
God,
to tell us? Well, just tell us about
there's so much. What do you want to know? I have a
just,
dog. Do you see the doggy? No, you
oh,
can't see
he
him.
left.
He's here. I have a dog on the right and a cat on the left.
Oh, they
Oh,
get
you can see the
along.
kitty. So I'm a pet mom. I'm a mom, to a 15-year-old, and I have a full-time career in the creative arts.
Which is amazing. And, I know you studied at Miami University College of Creative Arts vocal performance.
Yes,
And some people just mistakenly think, oh, you were born with this voice and you can sing. It's work. You have to keep, right? Am I right
it
on
is
that?
work. It's definitely work. I still study at my age, and I'm also a vocal coach. So
Oh, okay.
I teach private vocal sessions,
Oh,
and I say coach because I do much more than just technique. I help kids with auditions and with their storytelling and such. But
uh-huh.
yes, I bring that up because I studied, I guess, starting at age 12, I was taking private lessons for the voice.
Uh-huh.
Um, and still do. I don't do it regularly because when I teach, I tend to
Yeah,
work
you're
out my
busy.
well.
You're
Yeah,
really busy.
but
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
busy. But well, thankfully, I'm about to get busier. This is slow season right now, but yeah. So it doesn't just come automatically. There are very natural singers when I get kids that they're 8 years old and they have this amazing voice. I'm like, wow,
Yeah,
you have a natural gift. And
yeah.
then there's people who can't sing at all. And I
See,
tell I tell them I can't teach you to sing. I can teach you to sing better. So
I
yeah,
love
it's
to
work.
sing, but I'm not really a good singer. But I sing to myself, and that's enough. So my grandson, one of my grandsons, Kai Thomas Knight. That name sounds like an entertainer right there. He's going to theater school. He's been doing theater since he was a kid. And
Nice.
yeah, he's in his 20s now. And he just directed his own independent short film. So I'm
Wow.
really proud of him
That's
because
exciting.
when he was ready for college, he was torn about going into the arts, which was his heart, or taking something sensible.
Nice.
And I
Good for him.
said, and they always ask Nana, and Nana said, you go with your heart, the rest will come. And he did.
Hey,
Yeah, and he
hey,
did. Yeah.
that's a good Nana. You said Nana?
Yeah, they call me Nana.
Nana. That's
Nan, Nanny, Nana.
yeah. Good for you. That's really important. My son says that to me all the time. He says, "Mom, you're doing what you love." And that he says
That's
that's such a
important.
good example.
And if you can do what you love and get paid for it, then that's the dream, right?
That's ideal.
Now you've been performing, I don't want to make you sound like you're old, but for two
I
decades,
am.
nearly 2 decades. And
I
you, yeah,
Yes.
or more, or
Yeah.
more.
Well, we all, those of us in theater, say we were, born on the stage or whatever, born to sing, born to those
Hmm.
that are the big dancers, born to act. I definitely been on stage since I was 5, and that sounds very cliche, but it's
No,
the truth.
no.
But professionally, I have performed for, oh gosh, no, at least 30 years. So,
Yeah. Well,
and that kind
the
of
thing of it is, Kai, he was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome when he was quite young.
Mm,
He was not comfortable around people, but yet on the stage, he's another person.
absolutely. It's a whole new, it's a your own world. You can be a person that you don't feel comfortable being in,
Yes.
society. So yeah, theater has
Yeah,
so
because
many
I've
benefits.
seen
Yeah.
him in, oh, God, Romeo and Juliet and some really unique plays, kinky, quirky plays, and he was the star,
Awesome.
and this is public performance, not school. This is
Yeah.
actually people paying to see
Good
him.
for him. Good for him.
Yeah, he's doing well. But that's what I'm getting at. I think there's a lot of entertainers that you find out they're really introverts, or they have some kind of autistic, definition.
Absolutely. Oh gosh, every entertainer has their insecurity, and some is more severe than the other. In
Ah,
fact, and I know we are going off a little bit what we said we
yeah,
were going to talk about,
yeah.
but I ended up when I graduated, I wanted to get some business courses in. My father
Mhm.
toward that, thank goodness, which is why I can manage my own career. But I ended up getting a degree in business psychology, and my thesis was about performance anxiety.
Oh,
And it's a real, it's real. And
yes.
it's more so uh, for those that are really insecure, and for those that maybe do
Mhm.
have some kind of condition. But I have students that come to me that are terribly shy, and I work on their confidence and I work on their stage presence
Yeah,
because it's very important. So,
yeah, yeah. It's amazing. Now you've traveled a lot, right? So, what kind of places did you go to that you found the most interesting?
oh
Let's
wow.
say.
Well, I've traveled both personally and professionally, so I
Mhm.
just love to travel. So I did a lot of traveling in my 20s. I was at the time, my partner was a symphony conductor, and he
Oh,
was very worldly. So we went to many places for some of his performances. And then when I started traveling professionally, I kind of started in the international scene. I
oh,
was in Turkey for 6 months on and off
oh.
back in fact, there's my poster. What year was that? I can't remember.
Okay.
2010. No, there, I can't remember. No, 2000. It was a while ago. But I was touring with a symphony orchestra, and that was probably one of my most unique experiences because we were everywhere from Istanbul to the Spendos Amphitheater, which is a 5,000 seat ancient amphitheater,
Wow.
and a lot of like German tourists come, and
Yes.
it was amazing. I mean, I sang in front of 5,000 strangers. Um,
Amazing, isn't it?
and so that was a very unique experience. And then I've gotten to travel with other performances nationally, tours I've done. And then I did do a cruise ship for a year, and I saw,
That's tough,
I
isn't
don't
it? The
know,
cruise
so
ship.
many countries.
That
So
cruise ship thing is tough, isn't it?
tough.
I
No,
think it's
it's
not.
a best. No, no.
Oh,
Cruise
no.
ship, no, I was a principal performer, meaning one of the lead, the
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
no, it was a wonderful experience. I met my cruise
Well,
ship
what cruise
family.
line were you on?
It was a British cruise line.
Okay, because I
Yeah.
talked to, I'm a cruise person. I've been on tons
Uh,
of cruises. And some of these cruise lines, it's like when they're not performing, they're expected to do other things.
yeah, yeah. No, there's different contracts. Mine was
Yeah, yeah.
was wonderful, and they've probably changed since I went, but it was a fabulous experience. I saw so
I'm
many,
so
and
glad.
I took advantage. So I would be like a tour guide when I wasn't working, so that I could see
Yeah,
places.
yeah. Good.
No, it was
Oh, well, that's good to hear. They're not all worked to death.
every 20-year-old should try to performer should try to
Oh,
do a
yes. Well, I
great
kind
experience.
of told Kai that a couple of times too. You
Yeah.
never know. It'd be a
Yep.
good experience. But so you're very passionate about things in your life and the arts. What inspires you? What what really gets you going on something?
Seeing my students perform inspires me.
Mm.
Seeing my colleagues perform inspires me. I make an effort to see what I can when I can and support,
Yeah.
basically work in the theater, and then sometimes I just play in the theater. But like just recently, I saw several, probably about 10 of my students in a Broadway artist intensive that's done at the Kravis Center by these two wonderful artists, Jackie and Jason Gilman. And did I say their last name right? Yes. Anyway, and they put together a showcase of the 3-week intensive they do where they're working with coaches from New York. And I was like so inspired by the technique on the stage, and
Yeah.
how they demonstrated it. I mean, it pushes me to
Uh-huh.
continue to work harder. So yeah, I guess seeing other performers inspire me.
And of course, that I saw you in Disenchanted at the
Yes.
Kravitz a couple months back, which was so much fun because we don't go out at night. So it was a matinee. It was great. I got my husband there and he really enjoyed it. And another friend of ours, John, was in that too. And you guys just looked like you were having so much fun.
Yeah.
That
Well, that's
cast.
the thing. If you're not having fun in a show that's so much fun and comedy, and then why are you doing it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's several elements to that though, right? You have to have the camaraderie and the chemistry with your cast.
Hmm.
And that I've been in South Florida working professionally for about, gosh, 16 years. And I think I've maybe a couple times had a cast where, there was
Yeah.
some riffs, but no, the chemistry is important. That's the fun that you saw between us on stage. Of
Hmm.
course, the show itself, Disenchanted, is just so
So
brilliantly
funny.
written.
Yeah, it is.
It's just so clever, as you said. And yeah, so it was great fun, and we're bringing it back, so we're
Oh,
excited.
good. I'll go see it again.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go deep.
Oh,
So I don't think you can be a woman anywhere in the world, no matter when you've been born or what decade you reach adulthood in, where you have not come across obstacles or feeling marginalized um, in situations where someone's trying to take advantage of you, running into toxic men. So I have my story, of course, because I wrote the book on my stories, Raised by Wolves, Trapped by Demons. And I always say the wolves were my parents and the demons were
mhm.
the men.
Yeah.
And the situation I was in, of course, was I had no coping skills at all. I was
No
not,
corporate sense. Is that what you said?
no coping skills. I
Coping.
was not taught coping skills by my parents.
Mm,
So I had
mm,
to
mm.
learn myself. How about you? Have you had some period in your life where you've had to deal with stuff?
Oh, sure. Life is full of obstacles. How many times
Yes.
do I quote myself saying, "Why is life hard?" And yet my life isn't hard. I have such a support network. I'm very, very fortunate. I I grew up with a very supportive family. They're still supportive. I have a supportive network of friends that I worked hard to develop.
Yeah.
So the obstacles become lighter. So like single momhood is certainly only, it's an obstacle because I'm 24/7 being the both disciplinarian and the empath, right?
Yes. And I met your
So I
son. You're doing a good job.
well, I don't always do a great job. Nobody's
You
a
are.
perfect parent, but so
You are.
that's an obstacle. But I've had these amazing networks of friends that have helped me through those
Hmm.
obstacles.
Hmm.
And sure, there's been career obstacles and some I can't talk about. And
Hmm.
um, when you are a person that initiates you're there and manages their own career, which I do. I've been managing. I have agents that book me in certain things, but it's a right to work state. So I book
Hmm.
myself. And I've been doing that and marketing myself for
Hmm.
um, I don't, a long time. And so when you do those things, you're going to
Be successful.
encounter
Oh,
obstacles.
yes.
And but that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm got it. I was given coping skills. I was raised by a very, very brilliantly smart set of parents. And
Hmm.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
not much that's gonna
Yeah.
get me
I don't
down.
blame my parents because they were damaged people.
Oh,
You
of
know,
course,
they
everyone has.
were not raised in a loving environment and
Yes,
supportive.
yes.
They didn't know, what to do. But what I really am getting at, I guess, is more about like when you were young and dating.
Mm,
As I ran into it's so hard. I remember when I was young, if I was going out with a guy and he was like too soft and gentle,
mm-hmm.
like I wasn't attracted. Okay.
Well, that's most, isn't that
Yeah, right. When you're
famous?
young. And then if they were like Well, when I went to school, it was like we had two different high schools, and one was the preppy going to college high school, which I was in because I didn't know my parents weren't going to let me go to college at the time. And then there was, it's a terrible, they used to call it the Greaser College, like in what's the Grease, the movie Grease.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were the greasers because they were taking technical
Mhm.
vocational skills.
Mhm.
And I like this one guy, you know, I had black leather jacket and everything. And I made the mistake of bringing him to one of our preppy dances. And he was like scorned, and I was shamed.
That's a big
But
memory.
yeah, it is because it's funny to me. But the really off extreme is when I would date a toxic guy, like
Mhm.
really toxic, like possessive, jealous,
Oh yeah.
controlling.
Yeah.
Run into any of those types?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm not going to discuss my dating life on
No.
a podcast, but
Podcast.
um no, yeah, no. I of course, who hasn't you know, men since we're on an empowering female
Yes.
channel, that's
Mhm.
what your title is, right? Can you say your
Mhm.
title is
Yes.
Emp-
It's Be Heard, Women Empowering Women.
Be Heard, Women Empowering Women. I am very much an advocate of that
Yes.
mantra.
Yes.
So when you are a strong woman, it's hard to date. Men don't, there are a lot of men that don't like strong women. I know that sounds strange.
No, it's
And,
not.
and then the lucky ones who have been, you know, able to marry a strong woman and they stay together, that's wonderful. But no, I've definitely, obviously I'm single now, so I haven't had success
Finding
in
that
finding
right.
that
Yeah.
that part. But I also
That
have chosen
combination.
not to in
Pursue
the
it.
last, since
Yeah.
I've had my son, I've chosen to just focus on him and my career. That's what
I totally get that. Another one of my daughters had married, unfortunately, an addict that could not stay clean and sober, and he died.
Mhm.
And the children were very young; they were 4 and 5, and she did not date. And
Yeah.
she didn't date for years and years and years and years. They were
Yeah, it's a choice.
teenagers.
Yeah.
And it was so kind of funny though, because then when she finally did want to go on a date, my grandson was like, he was like having a fit, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
Exactly.
like, you know. So I totally understand that,
Yeah,
and I applaud that.
it's a choice.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to go through what I went through again because I had to use coping mechanisms that weren't very helpful. And I did not know that. So I didn't know, like, you know, drinking was going to lead into more than just your occasional drink.
Mhm.
It was going to become a coping mechanism, which then becomes an addiction,
Mhm.
things
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
Or I would be attracted to toxic men because in the beginning, they probably made me feel safe because they were so protective of me.
Mhm.
And once I got serious, that went overboard the other way. But I did finally find my way out of that maze. And Jerry and I are together 34 years.
Yes, wonderful.
It was
Congratulations.
them, not me. I always say that. It's my line.
That's
It was them, not me.
phenomenal. Good for you that you
Well,
found.
yeah, and it wasn't, it was odd because we went to high school together, but we really weren't in the same groups. And then our 20th class reunion, we both came alone with a date or a spouse. And that was our first date.
Mhm.
And then that's it. And I
Mhm.
didn't like him in the beginning. I did
Yep.
not like him. So you never know. But I always tell people, girls that I try to mentor, and they want a man, they want a man. I go, when you stop looking, you'll find one.
Oh yeah, that old expression.
It's true though. If you're not really looking,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden somebody will look at you and,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the other thing too is um, the single mother, that has to be so hard to balance your career and your son, raising your son.
It was when he was younger, for sure.
Yeah.
When, you know, he just had to come, he had to come with me. I mean, that's what famous people do, right? I'm not famous, but the really famous people, the kids grew up in the theater. My
Or
kid
see him
grew
in
up
church. Yeah, when you're
he
saying.
grew up in the theater. I mean, I just didn't have a choice. Um, I had people who helped me when I needed, and I also don't. My family lives 700 miles away. So that's the other
Yeah,
obstacle. So yeah,
yeah.
I didn't have the grandparents around. They would have been, but they're just too far away. And so he went with me, and my directors were always quite understanding about him coming.
Hmm.
And now that he's older, he's 15. It's not as hard now, except that they
Now
still need.
it's drop me off, pick me up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now it's I need a ride. I need a ride. So, he's really patient
I
with my
know.
schedule because I don't have a normal schedule.
Yeah,
I work in the afternoons, a
yeah,
lot of,
yeah.
but it was a challenge that was good for both of us because it was kind of fun to have him there. He got to see what I do. He doesn't want to do any of it.
That's fine.
Growing up in theater, he doesn't, not that he respects what I do,
He's
but
not attracted to it, and that's fine, right?
he has no desire. So it's so good. He
He
got
has
a
his own
taste.
path. He has
He
his
got
own
some
path.
culture along the way, and
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. Yes, he did.
and I
Yes,
I
he
saved
did.
a little bit on babysitters when I was able to bring them, and
That's true.
yeah,
So, what do you do when you're stressed out? Do you do meditation or anything, or just
I do yoga.
aha?
And I do try to do meditation. I make this joke. I tell people, "Oh yes, my meditation is in my car," because it is, because as I drive so much. So
Uh,
I sometimes I don't do the part where they say close your eyes uh,
mhm.
when you're
No,
driving.
that wouldn't be good.
So, but I do it helps me because I'm on the road a lot with my
Yeah,
career, and
sure.
so sometimes when I start off, I'll put on a meditation, 5-10 minute
Yeah, yeah.
to kind of
I
get
I'm
me in the
not
right
good at
mindset.
it. I'm not good at meditation because my mind just does not stop no matter what.
Absolutely. Same.
So what I found is guided meditation works for me.
Yes, exactly.
I know, our friend Taylor, he can just close his eyes and that's it. No,
Yeah.
I love and I find favorite ones and
Yes.
let them talk and tell me how to
Yeah,
breathe. And that works for me.
that works.
Yeah.
It's important. It's really more for stress, as you asked about
Oh, yeah.
stress, and then yoga classes are just they're my lifesaver.
Yeah.
During COVID, I worked out with a group of girlfriends online, and we got some yoga in, and then I go. It's just, yeah, you have to take care of
Have
yourself.
to,
You're not going to be
that's it. Even if it's, if your self care is the fact that you schedule a definite time to get a cup of tea and read a book.
Yep.
I mean, but I found that I schedule stuff. I am a
Yeah.
scheduler.
Oh
Yes.
yes.
If I
Important.
don't, I won't get it done.
It's
I've got
important. That's
mental
because you're a
come.
strong woman and you're doing a lot. And
Yes,
it's
I
important.
do.
I just, if I can just sit with my animals on the couch, that's like
That's
a
self-care right there.
beautiful thing.
Absolutely. So is there a current project that you're working on?
Current project. Well, working on my season, which means I'm scheduling about, gosh, I have about 25 to 30 students that I'm trying to schedule. That's a big project. Because it's individual schedules. And then I just in the spring, I've been doing a one woman show. I have a couple versions of one woman shows, but the one
Mhm.
I've been doing around South Florida, uh, I just had rearranged. So I have all new songs and
Mhm.
arrangements. And
It's in
I was,
Delray.
I
Are you
was
in
supposed to,
Delray?
well, no, so I do wherever I get booked, but
Okay.
I need to get it on video, right? So
Yes. Mhm.
everyone wants to see, an agent or a venue wants to see before they book you. So I was supposed
Mhm.
to video it this Sunday with an audience, and they just had to postpone it as of yesterday because they're doing construction at the theater. And so
Well,
it's okay.
I'm gonna give you a helpful tip right now.
Yeah.
If you can do a matinee,
Oh, you said that. Yeah. Well,
you
but
can,
to
I
get,
will get you
well, we had
about
an
four
audience. We had a
people.
great audience
I
coming.
know, I'm just saying, because I know there's a
I
bunch
know
of us
you
that,
prefer matinee. I'll try to do. No,
well,
I'm
it's
at the mercy of
just
this venue.
me.
Yeah, no, this venue was lovely enough to give
I
me the
know.
venue and an audience,
Yeah,
and I was putting together the rest. And I've been
yeah,
working on it for a couple months, so it was disappointing that it got postponed, but that's life in the showbiz.
yeah.
And so yeah, I'm working on that. I have a couple of those booked in the season. And then always working on music that I have to learn.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah,
yeah, that's really nothing, not
busy.
a huge,
Yeah.
huge project.
But
I,
networking, because this is something women need to do more often. You'd be surprised, like our condominium where we live, we have two clubhouses and two social directors, and
Mm.
they're always looking for talent.
Yeah.
And somebody like you could be booked, and there'd probably be at least 100 people, at
Yeah.
least,
Yeah.
and
So,
you could film it. So think about that
oh, great.
as far as the
Um,
matinee, and just let me know, you know, and
we could do a couple versions. Wonderful.
yes, yeah, I'm telling you, there's always ways that women can help each other.
That's right.
Um, let's see, we covered a lot. So, what advice do you have for young women that are struggling to get into the arts, especially your type of field?
Hmm. You have to figure out your, I hate this expression, but it is what it is. We call it our survival jobs. I prefer to call it for me, I'm a voice coach. I prefer to call it it's the other half of my career, right? So I do this and I do this, but you have to figure out a job you can fall back on when there aren't shows, right?
Right.
So depending on, now I've taken what I do, and I do lots of different types of performances. I don't just do theater shows. So that helps. But if you're going to try to do a career in show business, tenacity is essential, but you have to
Hmm.
know what are your other talents
Right.
and how can you use them so that you can continue to make money when you're not performing.
Exactly.
Period.
Yeah.
If someone's fortunate enough to go from performance to performance, and I have friends that do that,
Hmm.
they're not, they don't have children or whatever, and they can do that. But if you're fortunate enough to do performance to performance, kudos to you. That's not likely going to happen all the time. So there's got to be another skill that you have. And
Plan
that's what
B. You
my
always
advice
have
is.
a
Find your
plan
other
B,
skill.
which
What is it?
your father gave
Oh,
you that plan B.
are you kidding? No kidding. I had to work. I was just talking about this with some other working women girlfriends last night, and
Yeah.
I've been working since I was 13 and I haven't stopped. That was a rule in our household.
Work
You
ethic.
are going out to work and you are going to earn money. And
Yes.
that's just the way it should
Yeah,
be,
that's it. That's it. So you have a website, and it
right?
is under what name,
It's
or
just my name, ShelleyKeelor.com.
right?
And I do try to update it as often as possible with new shows.
Good. And you
Um,
have a YouTube channel.
I do. I don't know what that address is, but you can find
That's
it from
okay.
the
Just
website.
type your
Yeah.
name in, it'll come in. It'll come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is, oh gosh, that's one of the things that I'm not great about updating. I have so many beautiful videos from some shows
Yeah.
that I want to get on there, but I'm not,
Oh, Shelley, you're
it's so much
talking,
time.
you're preaching to the choir here. I'm on two boards. I take care of my husband who has
I
Parkinson's,
know you do.
and I love writing, but I need it to market too. And
Have to market.
marketing, I do my best. You saw some of my reels, but I'm learning as I go. I mean, they're not perfect, but the next one's a little better. So you do what you have to do, right?
Do what you have to do and what you have time to do. And
And love
hopefully,
doing it. Make
yeah.
sure you
And
love doing it.
yes. Now I actually do like when I have the day, it takes a day to update your website.
Yeah,
I mean, it
really.
just takes
You
time.
do. It does take time.
I enjoy doing it, but
Me
it's
too. But then
tedious.
I'm down the rabbit hole and 2 hours went by and I have to stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this was wonderful. See how fast the
Thank you.
time went by.
Yes,
And
thank you.
you are such a great role model for young women.
I appreciate that.
I know you personally, I know you professionally, and I thank you for coming on and talking
Thank you
today.
so much. Thank you. Everyone needs to look at your book to say that. See, I'm Women Helping Women. Title of your book again is
Raised by wolves, trapped by demons.
wonderful. Yeah.
And it has
Check it
it
out.
has a good ending. Thanks again,
Thank you
Shelley.
so much.
Can't wait to see you, and I'll
I'll
see
see
you
you
soon.
soon. All right.
Okay.
Bye.